I wanted to come to the Amen Clinic when my doctor suggested that I start pursuing a brain-healthy diet in order to help overcome my anxieties and depression. And those really started right after college when I had a severe panic attack just a week after graduating that seemed to have come out of nowhere to me, but I had been indulging in a lot of drug use, which didn't seem to be a problem to me, but it became apparent that I was really using drugs as a total escape from my post-college life and thinking about what I wanted to do, and also just stemming from a lack of self-confidence, a desire to kind of hide behind a facade and feel more comfortable in my skin by not really facing my reality as it was. And after I had a panic attack, it crippled me with anxiety on a day-to-day basis. I was anxious about things that I had never been anxious about before, really focusing on kind of hypochondriacal things and just really getting so inside my head that I couldn't really live a normal life anymore. And I started seeing a therapist to help overcome my anxieties. And when I moved to New York City about 3 months after graduating to start my first job, my anxiety and depression really started spiraling out of control, and I was feeling really disconnected from reality. I felt like I was living in kind of a dream. It was very hazy, and that was kind of the tipping point for me to really start working with my doctor and figure out how to approach my issues a lot more seriously. And he suggested coming to the Amen Clinic as just one more kind of prong of support to really help me overcome my everyday anxieties and depressions. And my nutritionist suggested initially going on a gluten-free and dairy-free diet, since both gluten and dairy are known to exacerbate depressions and anxieties and really contribute to brain fog and haziness. And I began that diet, and the next time I saw her and kind of reviewed my new daily diet, it became apparent that maybe I was really overly dependent on sugar as well, and I had never considered myself to be excessively dependent on sugar or a binge eater. But after kind of going through my diet, it seemed that maybe that was the case. So I eliminated sugar from my diet as well. And the first couple days after eliminating sugar, I felt like I had the flu or like I was withdrawing from drugs, and I really felt terrible. I was calling her, letting her know that I felt like I was dying, and that's when it became apparent to me how dependent on sugar I really was. Changing my diet has absolutely helped decrease my depression and anxiety. I've been gluten, dairy, and sugar-free for about 8 months now, and it's changed my life in such incredible ways, beyond just really changing food into something that I get really excited about and really enjoy, and totally expanding my dietary horizons. Even though I seem to have these crazy restrictions on my diet, I'm eating way more foods than I ever have before. My everyday anxieties and depressions have lessened my ability and my confidence in my ability to ride any waves of anxiety or depression have totally increased, and my overall confidence in my ability to kind of face myself and my reality and the way I interact with people. Cutting out gluten, dairy, and sugar was absolutely difficult for me at the beginning. When my nutritionist Erica first suggested cutting out gluten and dairy, I was kind of skeptical. She asked me what I thought about gluten-free diets, and I had heard of them, and I thought they sound fine, but I would never do it. And immediately afterwards she said, well, you should do it. So I agreed to do it because I really felt like I had something at stake here, and not a lot to lose, but a lot to gain by trying this new diet. So it was really difficult. I had to find alternatives. I couldn't eat sandwiches. I couldn't buy a $2 box of pasta to last me 5 meals. So it was difficult at first, and it was difficult to go out to restaurants or to just go out during the day and try to find something to snack on, but it became a lot easier the less I ate it and the less I thought about gluten or dairy, and especially sugar. Once I realized what better food options there were and just how much I enjoyed the taste of foods that I hadn't previously enjoyed, like vegetables and just fresh foods that I really felt good about eating, it became a lot easier. And it became even easier when I did start to cook and incorporate more and more foods into my diet. Eating gluten, dairy, and sugar-free has been as much about mental health as about physical health, and as much as I care about being physically healthy, being mentally healthy is just as important, and they're totally intertwined. So I have a lot at stake to kind of maintain this lifestyle, and it makes it a lot easier for me to stay gluten, dairy, and sugar-free because I know how much it's helped lower my anxiety and depression. I don't feel deprived of foods at all. Sometimes if it's 3 a.m. and I'm out with friends and the only options are pizza, I want to eat pizza, but I still don't because I know how much I have at stake, but also because it is easier for me to resist it and I don't feel cravings for food, and I'm just so much more aware of how good other foods are that I don't feel compelled to keep going back to the same foods, keep going back to bread or cheese or sugary candy. So I don't feel deprived. I feel quite the opposite. I feel that with all these new foods, I'm really kind of lucky to have experienced this huge change in my dietary preferences.